In this WrestleTalk news, WWE are reportedly high on an AEW star. An AEW star is reportedly high on WWE, and the plans to feature Scott Hall at WrestleMania this year before his tragic passing have been revealed. Plus, even more. So subscribe and enable notifications so always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
So, watching AEW for WWE must kind of be like checking an ex's Facebook and seeing them having fun with all of these new faces, laughing. I didn't see them laugh like that for a long old time. Was it me who made them miserable? But anyway, conversely, AEW is also like WWE's Tinder, sort of swiping through a shop window of new talent that the company is hoping to poach when their contracts eventually come up. And a new person has been given the old super like by WWE according to Mat Men's Andrew Zarian, who has said that Ethan Page is high on the E's list. He said, by the way, Ethan Page is another dude that WWE is very high on. They like Ethan Page's whole deal, and I think he's super hyper talented. I know that Ethan Page has re-signed and he's there for a while, but I know for a fact there are eyes on him for sure because he's a guy who is a good-looking guy who can cut a great promo. He has that TV look, so you got to keep a guy like that happy, especially now that he re-signed with you. You got to do something with him. Now, Page reportedly signed a contract extension with the company this month after originally joining in 2021. There is no word yet, though, on how long this extension takes him through to. But Zarian made an interesting point about using Page properly. He's currently aligned with Scorpio Sky, Dan Lambert, and Paige Van Sant, and has been wrestling on Rampage as recently as the beginning of this month, but Page hasn't wrestled a match on Dynamite since October last year, and it feels like Dynamite is the A show. Now, WWE's interest doesn't guarantee they'll make a play for Page, but there are a few talents that the company is reportedly keeping an eye on, like Jade Cargill, Wardlow, and MJF. And one of those names is returning those furtive glances. MJF. Speaking to Ariel Helwani, MJF talked up the idea of going wherever the money is good when his AEW contract comes up in 2024. He said, I'm not afraid to talk about when my contract is up, January 1st, 2024, and I'm not afraid to stir that pot because it's a constant reminder to Tony Khan, okay, I need to step up my game, and it's a constant reminder for WWE, who has extreme interest in me, okay, we're going to need to make him a serious offer that he can't refuse. When pressed on that interest and his contact with the E, MJF said that he has an in with Vince's right-hand man, Bruce Pritchard. He said, I love Bruce. I think Bruce is a hell of a guy and has a hell of a mind. I think he produces incredible television. Adding that I think WWE is doing great. I love everything WWE's doing. I mean, you're just never sure if it's a troll or not. But TBF to MJF, WWE should be extremely interested in him, and Tony Khan should be trying to pay through the nose to keep him come 2024 because the man is a talent. Now, in the same chat, Mr. Friedman also spoke about the AEW departure of Cody Rhodes and the rumored return to WWE, saying, I wish him the best of luck. I really do. I hope he finds happiness, and I hope he makes a boatload of money. I respect what he's doing as a businessman, and quite frankly, by 2024, if people have an issue with me leaving to go and make real money, then me and him are going to be fighting on the same exact island. A fact that can't be said for Wardlow, who has been kayfabe cast away, because as revealed on Dynamite, MJF's contract with Wardlow allows him to pay him to stay home so that everyone will eventually forget that Wardlow even existed. Now, to further that storyline, AEW have removed Wardlow from the company's roster page on their website, giving Max the chance to tweet, "Where's Wardlow?" Maniacal laugh, maniacal laugh, maniacal laugh. Now, how long Wardlow's actually going to spend at home before inevitably returning to powerbomb the Pinnacle into oblivion remains to be seen. Now, the wrestling world was shocked and saddened in the last 2 weeks by the passing of Scott Hall following complications that arose during hip surgery. Fightful Select are reporting that prior to his tragic passing, WWE were hoping to bring Scott Hall and other members of the NWO in for a spot at WrestleMania. And this is all to do with the premium version of WWE 2K22, which is the NWO For Life version and features the legendary stable on the cover, and the group was said to be being brought in to promote the game at Mania this year. Now, Fightful have said that they haven't received word yet on whether WWE are still going to bring the other members of the NWO in for Mania to promote the game, or whether the entire angle is just going to be dropped in the wake of Hall's passing, or whether they're going to turn up and do something in tribute to Hall. Another shocking occurrence in the wrestling world recently was Big E breaking his neck on SmackDown just 2 weeks ago. It has been a crazy month. E's tag team partner Kofi Kingston was talking to Hot 97 about the moment it happened and how it felt witnessing it from the inside of the ring. He said, "It was easily the scariest night of my career. I never saw the impact, so I didn't know, I went over there and I was like, okay, everything looks fine. He's down and everything, and then the match goes on. After everything went down, just the ref was like, yeah, I don't think if he's okay." I was like, what's going on all of a sudden? The paramedics and everything start coming out. It was just really scary because it's a reminder of how quickly things can take a turn for the worst. And it was a super close call for Big E as he broke his C1 and C6 vertebrae. And doctors reportedly told him that if he had broken his neck a millimeter more in one direction, he would have had a stroke, and a millimeter in the other, he could have died. That is incredibly scary stuff. Thankfully, E is in recovery now and seemingly in very good spirits. Wishing him all the best. So while wrestling certainly has more than its fair share of tragedy, there is also a lot of goofiness on the day-to-day level. One recent bit of fun that has swept the wrestling internet was Pete Dunne being rebranded as Butch when he joined up with Sheamus and Ridge Holland's Beef Crisp Boys faction, the Whiskey and Crisps. Pete was well known in NXT and NXT UK for his surly character, so when speaking with NXT UK's Mark Andrews on his My Love Letter to Wrestling podcast, it was interesting to see Butch completely unfazed by the new moniker. He said, "It's exciting, but it's also just a little bit different. I think it's time to change it up a bit. 5 years, fresh start, and why not try something a little new? Just try being Butch for once." The thing is, with me, whether it's a name or whatever changes, that's not what really endeared me to the audience in the first place, right? I like to think anyway it's the quality of the in-ring work, and that's what I'm going to keep the same, of course. Now, while obviously Butch no longer being the bruiserweight Pete Dunne hurts the NXT purists like me a lot, maybe it is going to work out for him just by accepting the change and barreling on with his unique wrestling style. But Pete isn't the first to be offered the Butch name. It's clearly been on the mind of WWE higher-ups for some time, as former NXT star Bull James revealed on the two-man Power Trip of Wrestling podcast. He said, "There's all this uproar about Pete Dunne's name being Butch. Butch was one of the names I put on my list, thinking, oh, they'll never use that," but not realizing that Bill DeMott's nickname for his son was Butch, so he loved it. He kept trying to get me like, "Oh, I think you should be Butch." I'm like, "I don't want to be Butch. Please don't make me Butch." James actually ended up being branded as Bull Dempsey during his NXT tenure. And branding can be everything in wrestling. A segue, just look at Chad Gable, who fought hard to get his name back after WWE decided to start calling him Shorty G. Shorty. Jesus Christ. But the thing is though, is Chad going to be ready, willing, and Gable to change his name again, because WWE have just signed another famous Gable Stevenson, to their roster. Now, the Olympic gold medal winner is being fast-tracked to the main roster and is on his way to WrestleMania 38, with a rumor mill saying he will be on the receiving end of a big push from the second he debuts. Speaking with Ariel Helwani, Stevenson said that he would be going under his own name in WWE, and that meant we're gonna have to have a talk with Chad, as there can't be two Gables. Stevenson elaborated saying, "You can't, but right now we do, and so there might have to be a little switcheroo. I don't know, but I love Chad too. He's a cool dude." And if this name change does turn out to be the case, it could be quite bad news for Chad, who was unsurprisingly buried during his time as Shorty G and has gotten his main roster run back on course under his name Chad Gable and his time in Alpha Academy. Like, if he has to change his name, the best thing to do in this situation is just change your name to Chad Stevenson, say you're his brother, and then team up with Gable. Because then you're just strapping yourself to a rocket.
But yesterday, you and I did go and see Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
We did do that.
And we can't do a review of it.
But we can.
That's on next week's show, but we can give
social reaction.
Give social reactions.
Yeah.
So,
do we do it in the form of GIFs? Pick a favourite GIF.
What? I've got to be the GIF.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my GIF.